Good morning, everybody. So with today's video, I gotta dress the part because today we're gonna be talking about Versace L'Homme 1984 release class as a Woody Chypre. Oh yeah, this really does smell like the 80s. But I gotta dress the part because when I think of Versace, I think of very in-your-face fashion. This is just a knockoff. It's not even a Versace, but this is what I picture when I think of Versace fashion. But I am not alone when it comes to this video. I got the Picasso of Fragcom, Chris from Sandland. So Chris, please, take it away.
Sandland, the land of sand, hey. Hello and welcome, it's Chris here, and thanks Chad very much for inviting me to do this wonderful collaboration on a scent that I adore for 34 years. Yes, 1991 was the year when I first used this fragrance, okay? The fragrance originally, obviously, introduced in October 1984, okay? October 1984 it was, and it comes from the very hands, the noses, Roger Pellegrino, and the mastermind behind it is the late great genius, Gianni Versace, one of my favorite fashion designers, artists, personalities ever, a really genuine genius. And this was his first male fragrance, okay, 1984 is the year, and it very much carries the DNA of that time. I could go on and list you all the notes on this one, but I'm sure Chad will mention them. To me, maybe a bit of bergamot, petitgrain and leather definitely stick out, and oakmoss as well, but the overall vibe and mood that I get of this fragrance is 80s sunshine in Monte Carlo. It's luxurious, it's handsome, it's very much 80s, never dated, very tasteful and very elegant, very Italian, very much Gianni Versace. If you remember the times when it came out, there was an ad and it said virile e romantico. So basically manly and romantic, and two guys were on the ad, okay? And so that was something groundbreaking, I thought so at the time, but it's true, check it out. And this fragrance is absolutely virile e romantico. And again, it represents the DNA, the fingerprint of that time, which is a good thing to me. It's a good thing to anybody who is very much into their vintage fragrances. This is still around, still being manufactured. There has been a slight change going on here, an adjustment, I guess, to comply with the current regulations, but it still maintains its beauty that it had. Again, I used it back in 1991 first time, and then throughout the decades, I always kept reaching back to it. There are several versions of this being made by Giver, by Euro Italia, and so on and so on. They're all worth checking out. And I'll tell you a secret, a little bit of a secret. The longer it stays on the shelf, the better it smells, okay? So, and that's something that is very much true for quality fragrances. Many of Lagerfeld's old vintage fragrances still after decades smell even better than they did before, okay? And so does Gianni Versace. Why do I mention Lagerfeld? Because Gianni and Carl were great friends, okay? So thanks very much. This was Chris. Thanks very much again, Chad. Thank you to all the good vibes and feedback throughout the years from you and your friends and subscribers. It's a tremendous pleasure to be here with you. And yes, take care. This was Chris from Sandland. Ha!
Chris, I gotta state, that shirt, it really truly does look good on you. I don't know if it would look good on me, but these shirts, these are $20 a piece, and I got them at like Ross Dress for Less in TJ Maxx. My wife absolutely despises them. I ended up getting these just for the sake of videos, but also to annoy the shit out of her. I'm very good at pushing her buttons. This fragrance was kind of like pushing my own buttons, because this is one that I personally don't like. I gotta state that. Now, top notes for this one here are gonna be lemon, basil, bergamot, petitgrain and green notes. The mid is gonna be carnation, cinnamon, patchouli, sandalwood, rose, cedar and jasmine. There's a lot going on when it comes to these 80 fragrances. Base is gonna be leather, oakmoss, musk, vanilla, labdanum, amber and Tonka Bean. So as I said, a lot going on in these 80s fragrances. This has been reformulated, but it still has that 80s powerhouse vibe, because Performance on this was pretty solid. Like I'm talking like 8 to 10 hours every single time that I wore it. Last year when we were supposed to do this video, we just got busy. But I had to get reacquainted with it this past week, and it wasn't good times this past week, I'll say that. Man, I sound like a pompous, pretentious niche knob here. I'm just more into like the safe, mass appealing, boring freshies. That's what I like. This, I'm sure back in the day was a #1 seller, was popular amongst a lot of men. So this opens up with a lot of lemon. The lemon is in the forefront. I find it's a lot of lemon with Petitgrain. I don't really get the bergamot, but the lemon without question, and I would say that that's like the main accord. But it's actually pretty green in some aspects, because you do get some green tones of like the basil. There's also gonna be some patchouli. I don't per se get like rose or carnation. I do get a lot of woods with like a musky and mossy feel as well. So it does get a little earthy. And the vanilla, if it's really there, I don't get, but there is little slight tones of like, whether that's amber or labdanum. So I would say top is going to be like the layer pyramid is going to be like citruses with green tones. So mossy, maybe a little bit of that dank patchouli, other green notes, a little bit of warm spices with woods and musk. This is not for everybody. Some people who are younger than I am, and I just turned 48, will like this, and there's nothing wrong with it. But for me, it's too old for me, even though that I am older than this fragrance. Man, 48 and 41 years that this fragrance has been out, crazy. Yes, it has been reformulated without question, but again, it still performs really well on my skin, like 8 to 10 hours. Towards that 8 to 10 hour mark, or even like I'd say 6, I feel like it gets funkier. When I've worn this, I work in blue collar, so I'm not exactly feeling fresh the entire day. I drive a bus for a living, if you're new to the channel. So that's like my funk, and I'm sure it's also the funk from this. This, in some ways, also reminds me of I think it's another 80s one, Paco Rabanne Pour Homme, which I recently reviewed. Video didn't turn out. I will redo that one with Rush and Chad Secrets. But in some aspects, that Oakmoss herbalness kind of reminds me of this and that together. This, for me, is more of an autumn and early spring fragrance for an older guy. I can't picture most young people really liking something like this. Now, there will be some who are just very, very mature for their age. Like, I'm talking like guys that are like 30 and under that are way more polished and way more mature than this 48-year-old man, bro. I'm not gonna deny that. There's nothing wrong with liking it if you're a younger guy. Because it's such an old fragrance, I know that a lot of the older men, like I'm thinking 60 and up, are rocking this as their signature scent. And I'm sure that even the boomers that are still working, that haven't retired yet, approaching retirement, are rocking this to work. Even like some of the older Gen Xers, like the Gen Xers hovering the boomer line, I'm sure that even they are rocking this without question. Gen X, so what, Gen X was what, 1965 to 1980? So those born like the 60s, 65, 66, they were like 18, 19 when this came out. And I'm sure that they've been rocking this ever since. There's nothing wrong with it. I just myself don't like it. What I do like about this fragrance though is that, yes, it does perform if you're looking for that, but it's actually very affordable. Versace, you're thinking it's a luxury brand. Well, if it's fashion like this, I'm gonna have to pass on that. But their fragrances are actually quite affordable. This is like $25 to $35 Canadian. Like, our dollar is not the strongest, so that's like $17 to probably $25 USD. That's tremendous bang for your buck. If you're looking for something that's old school, that is vintage, that it's from a different era, a different timeline, and certainly smells like it. But that's actually pretty masculine. As my grandfather would state, like he was World War II generation, this would sprout hairs on your chest. I could probably use a few more, so maybe if I just spray the chest, it just might grow, because it is quite masculine. This is what men back in the day would wear. That I know. But in the end, it's a fragrance that's not for me. And if you like it, again, there's nothing wrong with it. Wear what you want at the end of the day. If it makes you feel good, gives you confidence, and makes you happy, then rock it with pride, even if others don't like it at all. Wear what you want. So guys, that's my quick little take of Versace L'Homme with Chris from Scentland. So Chris, thank you so very much. I appreciate your time. We will be doing another video together. So guys, stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, please check him out. His link will be down in the description box below. He's an old timer, very much like myself. He's been in it for 10 years, and he just does whatever he wants, very much like how I do. We don't do the endless top 10s, the panty droppers, the compliments. We're not about that. We're just older guys, and we don't care for the algorithm. But as well, any other videos that I've done from this brand, they will all be down in the description box below. However, if you want to see a smell rate that I did with my wife on this brand, it's gotta be at least 6 years. Check out right here, and because this is an affordable cheapie, check out right here as well. And if you like this very video, drop us one of these. With thank you for my time, take care, and we will see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.